welcome back to Zeke's Lunchbox. It's finally that time of year when we finally do a sketchbook tour. I know it's been such a long time. You guys have been so patient. So thank you so much for being patient, and also thanks for being here. So if you are new here though, I do have a couple of other sketchbook tours that you can catch up on. If you guys haven't seen them in quite some time, feel free to revisit them. I will have those linked below. Typically the sketchbook tours are very lengthy and I chat quite a lot. Just like the other two videos, this one has to be broken up into a part 1 and a part 2. So part 2 will come out next week. So make sure you subscribe and also turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on the video, and comment with lots of positive, happy words so the algorithm gods can be bestowed upon me, reward me with a couple of boosts in the homepage. I would really love to get to 30k as soon as possible. Before the end of the year would be better than 2021, but hey, let's just be positive and hope to get there. All right, let's just get into it. Let's go. First of all, I normally decorate my sketchbooks in stickers just to liven them up, make them a little bit personal. And also, I really hate holding onto stickers and not sticking them anywhere. I'm not that sentimental with stuff like that. I know sticker collectors are very sentimental and want them placed in very specific areas. For me, I just want to put them somewhere, anywhere, so I don't lose them. So I just haphazardly just shove them across my sketchbook so I don't lose them, and I have a place where they permanently live. All the stickers are mine. They are available on my shop. These two stickers here are from Alice and Bamcat, and this one's a Relfam sticker. I will put their handles across here if you want to grab them. Before I head into it as well, I have been using the same sketchbook for quite some time now. I've been using the handbook sketchbook. I'm not sure what the specific name of it is, but I will have it linked below. This is the only sketchbook I like using because I think it's just really good quality. The paper's awesome. I like to use a lot of water when I sketch in my sketchbook, so I just find that this sketchbook is super heavy duty. It's got a really nice elastic band on here, so once your pages get a little bit fat, it can, shrink down and be flattened out. It also has a little bookmark thingy here, and also a pocket for any loose papers. It's just really quality. You get what you pay for, and I cannot recommend this sketchbook enough. So I have that popped below if you're interested. So I started the sketchbook in 2019, 30th of the 4th, 2019. So the end of April, so quite some time ago. I try and finish my sketchbooks within a year, but in 2020 I've just been really focusing on the tarot card project and not really leaving much room for other artworks. I've just had to dedicate and really prioritize so much more time to the tarot card project to really finish it and wrap it all up. If you're new here, you don't know what the tarot card project thing I'm talking about is, I will pop a playlist down below as well, or you can head over to my Instagram because it just has all the images popped there. Okay, a little tradition I like with my sketchbooks is I like to pop in a to-do list, or not a to-do list, but like a goals list, so I have something to kind of refer to when I'm a little stuck on what to study. It's a really rough guide. I don't stress too much on actually accomplishing the goals. It's a really loose goal list. I have a lot of people who get very pedantic about their goals, and I don't like to overthink that. I just want to go with the flow. So some goals that I had for this sketchbook were landscapes, bodies, faces, hand color studies, light studies, animal studies, and replicating artists' artwork studies. So by that I mean getting a Van Gogh painting and really analyzing the study and the movement of brush strokes, color palettes, basically all of it. If I'm studying other artists' artworks and kind of replicating their pieces, I feel like going through that motion, you learn a thing or two about process that you should be taking. So I unfortunately didn't do that at all in this sketchbook, but hopefully for the next one. And then lastly, some creature brainstorming. With a lot of the sketchbook tours, I have not done too much drawing by memory. Although I played around with this a little bit in this sketchbook, there's not much like fantasy, character design, brainstorming stuff in this sketchbook, so I'm gonna try and do that for the next one. Common recurrence on this channel is that I constantly complain about how terrible I am at environments and landscapes, and it's something that I really need to work on because I focus so much time on body studies, facial studies, a lot of figurative stuff. Going down the line, I'd like to dedicate more time to getting my landscapes up. Yeah, I tackle that a little bit in this sketchbook. First off, we have this lass over here. Like the the idea of doing like portraits mixed in with landscapes, a woman, you know, carrying the landscape on her back. It's got like a little note of Mother Nature in there, something I kind of want to mix in a little bit more in future. Another little aspirational goal. For me, I think mixing in a figure with a landscape will inspire me to actually do a lot more landscapes, so that's what I was going for here. But everything that is used in the sketchbook I will also have linked below, so the watercolor palettes, pens I use, the stencils I use, but if I miss anything, feel free to ask me in the comments. Let's move on. Okay, if you've been watching this channel for the last year or so, you will be familiar with this video here. My partner and I went on a little exploration and drew a bunch of figures of people on public transport, and we also just had a little excursion where we just drew random people off the street. I tried to do it with just a red biro Bic pen, so you know, just playing around with studying figures. It's kind of interesting to see these now because I feel like I've actually improved quite a lot when it comes to drawing people in real life. I think I'd just be a lot more confident in my portraits now, especially with all the different strange kind of obscured angles of the face. What I really like taking away from this particular page though is this guy over here. These stylized portraits, something that I kind of want to lean more into in the future, really extending and experimenting with lots of shapes and very specific angles. So now this page is probably what you guys are most acquainted with when it comes to my work. My work is often very colorful, lots of vibrancy, cute, pretty people. With this particular spread, I bought a couple of the Prima watercolor sets. So I was just really wanting to play and experiment with those. I bought them in all the different individual sets, but I have popped them into one big palette. Pretty much all of these colors are from this set here, mixed in with a couple of pens too. So most of these are just studies, really wanting to play around with the medium and really get to know the medium. That's as far as this spread goes. You know, experiment with lots of different colors. I like the idea of experimenting with trying to add every single color in the rainbow into a portrait. Something again I'd like to explore in the future. Having my sketchbook here record my ideas is really essential for me because it constantly reminds me of like, oh, I've got to explore that in the future in a final artwork. But you know, you can just get your ideas out really quickly in a sketchbook. This boy over here, I've made a bunch of postcards of a couple of key sketchbook drawings from here. This is available on my shop if you want to grab it. I just like the idea of like, you know, it's like physically like ripped out of the sketchbook. So you have a little piece of the sketchbook with you if you get the postcard. And then this last over here, just experimenting with textures, and I like the pops of pink in her as well. Okay, some more studies. These pops of pink mediums here are the acrylic gouache, I think in Opera. If you are acquainted with that paint tube, you will know how incredible the colors are in that tube. Yeah, again, more studies, just trying to study a lot more bodies in motion, a lot more like athletes, you know, jumping in very strange, obscure poses, and really just trying to nail down all the exaggerated poses and the lighting. I like the energy in this gal over here. This was just from like a volleyball tournament. This little blue boy, I quite like how he's really sectioned off, like he belongs in a very strict rectangle. I believe he is also featured in one of my postcards as well. There he is. Yeah, I don't know, not much else to say about the page except that these are just some studies, just experimenting. Again, a pretty crappy landscape if I have to say so myself. Really perplexed by perspective, and I'm still trying to really understand it. Like, I understand it in theory and I totally get it when people explain it to me, but once I actually enact it and put it into action, like the wires are crossed, I just don't understand, which is so frustrating to me because I should be able to understand it. It's not that complicated. If you have any perspective tips, pop it in the comments below. Again, a couple of studies, and especially some hand studies. I believe I've got this girl. I've got her in a postcard as well. I quite like how cartoonish her face came out, especially with the ear. A trope I want to use again in future because I just think it's really cute and sweet. Yeah, something very kawaii anime about her. I don't know if it's the beret, the makeup, I'm not sure. It's just really delicate and it's one of my favorite pages on here. This gal, on the other hand, because she doesn't have any eyebrows and she's wearing really dark makeup, I really struggled with her, especially the teeth. I'm still terrible when it comes to teeth, so that's something again that I need to experiment with and practice a lot more in future. Couple of hands. If you guys have been watching for a couple of years, you'll know that I could barely even draw a hand like two years ago. So, you know, just trying to get my skills up, and I think it's really important to have a sketchbook to keep your skills up to date and level. So if you're wanting to improve your art, you have to have a sketchbook. I think it's an absolute must. It's where you jot down all your ideas, practice, get better. Please have a sketchbook, and also make final artworks too. Studies of landscapes, a couple of bugs. This cicada over here you guys might be familiar with because it's my logo. It's just an image I've been using as my avatar forever, so hey, now you know where it comes from. A couple of my stickers, again, available in shop. Here doing a little Palm Springs photo scene, like a mid-century modern photo scene. I just loved the photo so much, and I love that Palm Springs mid-century look. I just think it's really playful and such a cool moment in time, and really fun, but also very glamorous. This girl over here is from this book. Let me know if you guys know this book. I feel like for any weirdo alternative fashion peeps, you'll very much know and understand this book. I've been meaning to get the second one forever, and I believe there's a third book too. Because I use so many reference images from Pinterest, I see on Instagram and so many other artists using the same images, and it's not that I care too much about that, it's just more that I don't want to homogenize my artwork too much. I think it's cool that we're all using the same references and seeing the various interpretations, but for me I kind of want to mix it up a little. And also it's really nice actually using a reference from a book. I like to pretend that it's the 90s sometimes and not the hellscape that is 2020. But yeah, I like to pretend that it's 1995 sometimes, and I do studies from a book, and I cannot tell you how much more relaxing it is to like take all of the devices out of your room and just do a study from a book and pretend it's 1995. It's wild. Highly recommend it for mental health. Just a cute little moody gal. There'll be lots of cute little moody gals throughout the sketchbook. Next page. Okay, this page here is from a workshop that I did in 2019. I did a little class, a creature creating class, and I'm pretty sure I featured it in a vlog of some sort. I will pop that in the description below. This is probably the only character brainstorming session that I've done here, but I really love it, and I really want to incorporate these more cartoonish, weird amalgamated characters more in my pieces. Post tarot card, I'm very much looking forward to, you know, doing a bunch of girls and big scenes and adding in all of these strange characters, just because I feel like there's a lot of weird characters in my brain that need to escape and be solidified out onto a piece of paper, a canvas somewhere. So post tarot, I'm very, very much excited to experiment with characters like these. Really provokes the child brain in me and just makes me really excited. So if you're new here, go watch that video so you can see what that's all about. And then moving on to some studies. Here I was studying with some highlighter. I like the idea of just kind of layering and seeing all the different colors like that can come out of a highlighter. I use a bunch of like pastel highlighters. I think at that point I just bought a pack of pastel highlighters, so I wanted to see what that looked like, which was pretty cute, and I really should experiment with that more in future. Portrait of, I think, Oscar Isaac. I'm not sure. It really looks like him, but maybe it isn't. And then a little skater girl. Again, I'm trying to just do a lot more studies of bodies, especially women in action and women doing things, just to pop that into the zeitgeist a little bit more. So see some more chicks doing stuff and not just posing and being pretty. Not that that's wrong, it's more just, you know, I want to pop more new images into the world. Okay, yes, this fella over here is, I believe, a character from possibly the Power Rangers universe. I think so anyway. The Power Rangers universe just has so many strange, incredible costumes. Back when I used to live in Laos for a period of time with my family, I remember watching a lot of Power Rangers and being, even then, perplexed by the costumes. They are so fantastical, so strange. I don't know if they're all from Power Rangers, but I remember watching a bunch of shows like that. So I went kind of crazy and pinned a bunch of those costumes and drew one of them. You know, not amazing. I'm trying to do some more studies of costumes and other works like that to, again, incorporate into future artworks. Everything that I sketch in the sketchbook is kind of always leading into future artworks, whether it's, you know, brainstorming characters or trying to study and skill up. Was this a video? I feel like it might have been a video. If it was, I'll pop it in the comments below because I feel like it was, but I just don't really know what that video was about. Anyway, she's kind of cute. I wish the back of the head was a little bit fatter, but with these sort of haircuts, it's really difficult. And I think that's why I'm experimenting a lot more with them, because it really flattens the top of the head and it kind of makes it look a little strange, like they're missing part of the head. Just how it translates into a drawing, I don't know. It's really not my favorite. I think she's okay. I think with this one, I was really trying to experiment with actual proper skin tones because I normally just paint with like all pink or all green skin. So, you know, trying to do some more real life skin tones just to like mix it up a little bit more. For me, this drawing's kind of like I'm gonna give it like a C-. Like I'm not vibing it at all. Next page. Okay, another skater girl. I really love these, you know, contorted, strange, foreshortened poses. I'm trying to just use those a lot more in my pieces. I was just trying to go back to using my Bic pens. Pens just remind me of like when I first fell in love with drawing properly in high school and you're doodling in class. They're very nostalgic for me. So these particular pens are so sharp, like they create such a like thin, perfect line. If you're an artist who draws with these, you know. All right, if you know, you know. This spread's like one of the more basic ones, but for me, it feels very genuine. Like I'm really not trying to like make it amazing artwork or anything. It feels like this is a more realistic look at what my sketchbooks would look like if I weren't doing sketchbook tours. This fluffy little fox, I think again I was trying to experiment with the layering look from the highlighters. That's what I was trying to go with here, you know, seeing what all of the 3 different tones that I could create with just using 2 mediums. This cat here is so cute. I should definitely recreate this cat again in a piece. This gal over here, I think another character from a Power Rangers photo, possibly. They look really cute up close. Far away, they look kind of schmeh, but up close, they look really, really good. I'm actually really happy with these. I think the details in them are nice. With that, I was just trying to, you know, when you make a blob and then you fill in the blob to see what can come of it, that's what I was just trying to experiment with. I don't think that guy's very successful, but I do really like this gal because it's like she's sitting on a tabletop all kind of skewed. Although it's a really, you know, intense angle of a female body, I still feel like it's kind of devoid of the male gaze. Like this is the sort of image that only a woman would really relate to, if that makes sense. Like a woman like in her undies, like at home and not giving an F about anything. That's like the vibe I'm getting here. Also trying to do a lot more expression studies just because the expressions that I normally do are a little bit cold and I feel like my pieces can have a lot more personality in them and something that I'm trying to work on a lot more in future. If you know who this is and what movie it's from, comment below. Okay, you guys, since that is about halfway, that's it for part 1. All right, you guys, that concludes part 1 of the 2020 sketchbook tour. I hope I gave you lots of good insight and a couple of tips that you can use for yourself as well. But if you would like further discussion about your art process, consider becoming a patron. Over on that platform, I do one-on-one mentoring, get access to a secret playlist over on Patreon of videos that will never exist on YouTube, quite frankly. So if you want to watch more content, head over to Patreon to support the channel and support my art. And also you get lots of handy tips for your own art process as well. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give the video a like and subscribe. If you want to see me in between videos, you can head over to my Instagram and Twitter. And also I have a Facebook group if you want to continue chatting. Basically all the links and everything is in the description below. Tune in for part 2 next week. I will see you guys then. Bye. Yeah.